The grand halls of the Galactic Council echoed with the murmurs of alien delegates, each representing the most advanced civilizations in the known universe. At the head of the ornate chamber, the Council's supreme elders sat in silent contemplation, their wrinkled faces betraying a sense of unease. It was time to address the newest applicant to the prestigious Galactic Council, humanity. The members of the Council had long viewed the humans with a mixture of curiosity and condescension. After all, the human civilization was a mere infant, barely a few centuries old, in comparison to the millennia-old cultures that dominated the galactic stage. As the human ambassador, a young woman named Evelyn stepped forward to plead her planet's case. The council members shifted uncomfortably in their seats. They had heard the familiar refrain before: humanity's desire to join the ranks of the galactic elite, to contribute to the collective knowledge and prosperity of the council. Yet the humans had always fallen short, their technological capabilities paling in comparison to the sleek spaceships and advanced weaponry wielded by the other civilizations. Honorable members of the Galactic Council, Evelyn began, her voice measured and confident. We, the people of Earth, humbly request to be granted full membership in this esteemed body. We believe that our unique perspective and the rapid advancements of our civilization can bring valuable insights to your deliberations. The council members exchanged glances, their eyes gleaming with a mixture of skepticism and amusement. Xylov, the delegate from the Vosian Empire, cleared his throat and leaned forward, his reptilian features twisting into a condescending smile. Your people have shown promise, young one, Xylov said, his voice dripping with condescension. However, your military technology remains woefully inadequate. How can we entrust the security of the Galactic Council to a civilization that struggles to venture beyond its own solar system? Murmurs of agreement rippled through the council chamber, and Evelyn felt her cheeks flush with a mix of anger and embarrassment. She had expected this reaction, but it still stung to have her people's hard-won achievements dismissed so easily. I assure you, Honorable Council, that our military capabilities are more advanced than you realize, Evelyn replied, her chin held high. We may have taken a different path, but we have developed technologies that could be of great value to the Galactic Council. Xylov let out a derisive laugh, his scaled fingers drumming against the ornate table. Prove it, then. We challenge your people to a mock battle, using your most advanced military vessel. If you can hold your own against our fleet, we will consider your application more seriously. The other council members murmured their agreement, their eyes gleaming with a mixture of curiosity and condescension. Evelyn knew that this was a test, a chance for the humans to prove their worth. She also understood the risks. If the humans failed, it could spell the end of their hopes for Galactic Council membership. Very well, Evelyn said, her voice steady. We accept your challenge. You will be most impressed by what our people have achieved. With a curt nod, Xylov dismissed Evelyn, and the human ambassador retreated, her mind racing with the implications of the Council's decision. The fate of humanity's future now rested on the shoulders of their most advanced military vessel, a ship that had been developed in the utmost secrecy, away from the prying eyes of the Galactic Council. As Evelyn returned to Earth, she knew that the coming days would be crucial. The humans had one chance to prove their worth, to shatter the Galactic Council's preconceptions and cement their place among the stars. Failure was not an option, for the consequences could be dire, not just for their own civilization, but for the delicate balance of power that had long defined the Galactic Council. The halls of the Terran Defense Command hummed with a sense of nervous anticipation as the top scientists and military strategists gathered. Evelyn, the human ambassador to the Galactic Council, had returned with the news of the impending mock battle, and the pressure was on to deliver a decisive victory. We've been working in secret for years, perfecting the designs for our latest battleship, said Dr. Mikhail Volkov, the lead engineer on the project. This vessel is unlike anything the Galactic Council has ever seen, and it will be the key to proving our worth. The others in the room nodded in agreement, their eyes shining with a mixture of pride and apprehension. They all understood the stakes. If the humans failed to impress the Galactic Council, their bid for membership could be lost forever. "Then let's not waste any time," Evelyn said, her voice firm. "Prepare the battleship for launch. It's time to show the Galactic Council what we're made of." As the days ticked by, the tension within the Terran Defense Command only grew. The engineers worked tirelessly, fine-tuning the battleship's systems and ensuring that every possible contingency was accounted for. Meanwhile, the military strategists pored over data, devising intricate battle plans that would maximize the ship's capabilities. Finally, the day of the mock battle arrived, and the Terran battleship, codenamed Excalibur, emerged from its hidden hangar, a sleek and imposing silhouette against the backdrop of the stars. The Galactic Council's fleet, an impressive array of heavily armored vessels, assembled in the designated combat zone, their commanders confident in their superior firepower and experience. As the two sides faced off, the Galactic Council members watched with a mixture of curiosity and disdain. They had seen countless alien civilizations try and fail to match the might of their combined forces. Surely, the upstart humans would be no different. The signal to begin the mock battle was given, and the Galactic Council's ships unleashed a barrage of laser fire and missile salvos. The human battleship, however, remained steadfast, its shields deflecting the incoming attacks with ease. Moments later, the Excalibur's own weapon systems roared to life, unleashing a devastating onslaught that caught the Galactic Council's fleet off guard. "Impossible!" Xyloth, the Vosian delegate, exclaimed, his scaled features contorted in a mixture of shock and disbelief. "Their weapons are more powerful than anything we've seen." The Galactic Council's ships, their hulls rent and their systems crippled, were forced to retreat in the face of the human battleship's overwhelming firepower. The members of the Council sat in stunned silence, their eyes locked on the triumphant Excalibur as it slowly drifted back to its starting position. Evelyn, who had watched the entire battle from a secure command center, allowed herself a small smile. The humans had achieved the unthinkable, shattering the Galactic Council's preconceptions and proving their technological superiority. But the victory was bittersweet. Evelyn knew that the Council members would not take this defeat lightly. They would be forced to reevaluate their perceptions of humanity, and the consequences of that could be far-reaching. As the Galactic Council convened in an emergency session, the tension in the air was palpable. The members debated and argued, their voices rising in anger and disbelief. Some called for immediate sanctions against the humans, while others advocated for a more cautious approach, recognizing the potential value that the human civilization could bring to the Galactic Council. Evelyn watched the proceedings with a sense of apprehension, knowing that the fate of her people hung in the balance. The Galactic Council had been forced to acknowledge the capability of the human military, but would they be willing to accept them as equals, or would they view them as a potential threat? The answer, Evelyn knew, would define the course of humanity's future among the stars. The air in the Galactic Council's Grand Chamber was thick with tension as the members convened for the highly anticipated mock battle between the human forces and the Council's own fleet. Evelyn, the human ambassador, stood calmly beside the holographic projection of the combat zone, her eyes scanning the array of alien vessels that hovered in wait. Xyloth, the Vosian delegate, rose from his seat, his scaled features twisted into a wary expression. "Let us begin this test of your military prowess, human," he said, his voice dripping with barely concealed disdain. "Show us what your so-called advanced technology can do." Evelyn nodded, and with a few taps on the console, the human battleship Excalibur materialized in the center of the projection, its sleek, angular hull gleaming with an almost menacing intensity. The Galactic Council's fleet, a formidable array of heavily armed and shielded vessels, surged forward, their weapons systems powering up with a growing hum. Evelyn watched impassively as the human battleship held its ground, its own defenses slowly activating in response. The first volley of laser fire and missile salvos rained down on the Excalibur, but to the astonishment of the council members, the human ship's shields held firm, deflecting the attacks with ease. Before the council's fleet could react, the Excalibur unleashed a devastating barrage of its own, its powerful energy beams and precision-guided missiles carving a swath through the enemy formation. Sci-Fi and the other delegates leaned forward in their seats, their eyes wide with a mixture of shock and disbelief. The human battleship's firepower was unlike anything they had ever witnessed, and it was quickly decimating the Galactic Council's fleet. Impossible! Sci-Fi cried, his scaled hands clenching the edge of the table. How can this be? Our ships are outmatched. Evelyn remained silent, her gaze fixed on the holographic display as the human battleship continued its relentless assault. One by one, the Council's vessels were forced to retreat, their hulls breached, and their systems crippled by the sheer power of the Excalibur's weapons. The mock battle had become a rout, and the Galactic Council's members sat in stunned silence, their expressions ranging from disbelief to outright fear. As the final Council ship fled the combat zone, Evelyn stepped forward, her chin held high. "Honorable members of the Galactic Council," she said, her voice calm and measured. "I believe we have proven the capabilities of our military technology. Now, I trust you will reconsider our application for membership in this esteemed body." The council members exchanged uneasy glances, their minds racing to process the implications of what they had just witnessed. Xylov, his scales now glistening with a sheen of sweat, cleared his throat and addressed Evelyn. This is most unexpected," he said, his voice shaking slightly. "Your people have shown a level of technological prowess that we had not anticipated. We must convene and discuss the ramifications of this development." Evelyn nodded, her expression unreadable. "Of course, I await your decision with great anticipation." As Evelyn departed the council chamber, the members fell into a heated debate, their voices echoing through the grand halls. The human civilization had upended their preconceptions, and the Galactic Council now found itself at a crossroads. Should they welcome this new and powerful player into their ranks, or should they view the humans as a potential threat to the delicate balance of power that had long defined the Council's dominance? The fate of the Galactic Order hung in the balance, and the decision they made in the coming days would reverberate through the stars for generations to come. The grand halls of the Galactic Council echoed with the heated voices of the delegates as they convened in an emergency session. The stunning defeat of their fleet at the hands of the human battleship had shaken the very foundations of the Council's power and prestige. Vilov, the Vosgian delegate, paced back and forth, his scaled features contorted with a mixture of frustration and uncertainty. "This is an outrage," he exclaimed, his tail lashing back and forth. "How can a mere human civilization possess such advanced technology? It threatens to upset the delicate balance that we have maintained for centuries." The other delegates murmured in agreement, their expressions mirroring Xylov's discomfort. The Galactic Council had long prided itself on its technological superiority, a dominance that had allowed it to maintain a strong grip over the affairs of the known universe. But now, that dominance was being challenged by the upstart humans. "We cannot ignore the implications of this, Xylov," said Galfor, the Xyrian delegate, his deep baritone voice carrying a note of unease. "If the humans possess such formidable military capabilities, they could pose a grave threat to the stability of the Galactic Council." Evelyn, the human ambassador, sat quietly, her eyes scanning the faces of the council members. She knew that this moment would be a critical turning point, not just for her people, but for the entire Galactic Order. "Honorable members of the Council," Evelyn said, her voice calm and measured. "I understand your concerns, but I assure you that the human civilization poses no threat to the Galactic Council. We seek only to join your ranks, to contribute our knowledge and expertise to the betterment of all." Xylov snorted derisively, his scaled fingers drumming against the ornate table. "And what do you expect in return, human? Access to our technologies?" Influence within the council. His eyes narrowed, the suspicion in his gaze palpable. Evelyn met Siloth's stare without flinching. We are willing to share our own technological advancements, to work alongside you in maintaining the galactic order. All we ask is for recognition and representation within the council itself. The delegates erupted into a cacophony of voices, each arguing passionately for or against the inclusion of the humans. The Galactic Council was at a crossroads, and the decision they made in the coming days would have far-reaching consequences. Galthor raised a hand, silencing the din. We must consider this matter carefully. The humans have demonstrated a level of technological prowess that we cannot ignore. To outright reject their bid for membership would be unwise, but to grant them unfettered access to our resources and decision-making processes could also be perilous. The other delegates nodded in agreement, their expressions grave. The Galactic Council was facing a daunting challenge: how to integrate the humans without compromising their own power and influence. As the deliberations continued, Evelyn sat patiently, her mind racing with the implications of the Council's decision. She knew that the fate of her people hung in the balance, and that the next steps would be crucial in shaping the future of humanity's place in the galactic order. The Galactic Council had been forced to confront its own biases and preconceptions, and the outcome of this debate would not only determine the course of their relationship with the humans, but also the very stability of the galactic order itself. The tension in the Galactic Council's Grand Chamber was palpable as Evelyn, the human ambassador, stepped forward to present her people's case. After the stunning defeat of the Council's fleet at the hands of the human battleship, the delegates had been locked in heated debate, weighing the merits and risks of granting the humans full membership. Evelyn cleared her throat, her eyes sweeping across the faces of the expectant council members. Honorable members of the Galactic Council, we come before you today not as adversaries, but as potential partners. The technological prowess of our civilization is not a threat, but rather an opportunity for us to work together in shaping the future of the known universe. Siloth, the Vosgian delegate, shifted uneasily in his seat, his scaled features etched with a frown. "And what exactly are you proposing, human?" he asked, his voice dripping with skepticism. Evelyn met Siloth's gaze unflinchingly. "We are prepared to share our most advanced technologies with the Galactic Council in exchange for recognition and representation within this esteemed body." The delegates erupted into a cacophony of voices, some expressing outrage at the audacity of the human proposal, while others seemed intrigued by the prospect of gaining access to such powerful technological resources. Galthor, the Xerian delegate, raised a hand, silencing the din. "This is an intriguing offer, Ambassador Evelyn. If we were to grant you full membership and the ability to contribute to our decision-making processes, what assurances can you provide that your people will not use their newfound influence to undermine the galactic order?" Evelyn considered the question, her brow furrowed in thought. The people of Earth have no desire to upset the delicate balance of power within the Galactic Council. We seek only to be recognized as equals, to work alongside you in maintaining peace and prosperity throughout the known universe. Siloth snorted derisively. "Equality, prosperity. Bah! Humans are mere children, stumbling through the stars with no understanding of the complexities that we have spent millennia navigating." Evelyn's eyes narrowed, her lips pressed into a thin line. "We may be young, Siloth, but our people have proven their capabilities. We have technologies that could revolutionize the Galactic Council's operations, technologies that could benefit all of our civilizations." The delegates exchanged uneasy glances, the weight of Evelyn's words hanging in the air. The human ambassador had made a bold proposition, one that could potentially shift the balance of power within the Galactic Council. Some of the delegates were intrigued by the prospect of gaining access to such advanced technology, while others remained deeply skeptical of the humans' true motives. Galthor cleared his throat, his deep voice cutting through the tension. "We will need time to consider your proposal, Ambassador Evelyn. The implications of granting you full membership are far-reaching, and we must weigh the potential benefits against the risks." Evelyn nodded, her expression unreadable. "Of course, Honorable Council. I understand the gravity of this decision. We are prepared to negotiate the terms of our integration, should you choose to grant us the opportunity." As Evelyn stepped back, the delegates fell into a hushed discussion, their voices low and their expressions grave. The fate of humanity's future now rested in the hands of the Galactic Council, and the outcome of these deliberations would reverberate through the stars for generations to come. The grand halls of the Galactic Council echoed with the heated voices of the delegates as they debated the terms of humanity's potential integration into their ranks. The stakes were high, with the balance of power in the known universe hanging in the balance. Siloth, the Vosian delegate, paced back and forth, his scaled features contorted with a mixture of suspicion and determination. "We cannot simply grant the humans unfettered access to our technologies and decision-making processes. They have proven themselves to be a disruptive force, and we must ensure that their influence is limited." Galfor, the Zirian delegate, nodded in agreement, his deep baritone voice carrying a note of caution. "Siloth makes a valid point. The humans have demonstrated a level of technological prowess that we cannot ignore, but we must be prudent in how we incorporate them into the Galactic Council." Evelyn, the human ambassador, stood calmly amidst the heated debate, her expression neutral. She knew that the path forward would not be an easy one, and that the council members would be wary of granting the humans too much power. "Honorable members of the council," Evelyn said, her voice clear and measured, "we understand your concerns, but we cannot accept terms that would relegate us to a position of subservience. The people of Earth have much to offer, and we expect to be treated as equals within this esteemed body." The delegates exchanged uneasy glances, their expressions ranging from frustration to outright defiance. Siloth's scales seemed to shimmer with a barely contained fury. "Equality?" He spat, his tail lashing back and forth. "You humans have the audacity to demand such a thing, after you have disrupted the very foundation of the galactic order. We will not be bullied into submission by your technological might." Galthor raised a hand, silencing the Vosian delegate. "Perhaps we should consider a more measured approach. Perhaps we can grant the humans limited representation and technology-sharing privileges, while maintaining strict oversight and control." The other delegates murmured in agreement, their expressions thoughtful. Evelyn felt a flicker of hope, but she knew that the negotiations would be arduous, and that the humans would have to make significant concessions to secure their place within the Galactic Council. As the discussions continued, it became clear that the council members were deeply divided on the issue. Some, like Siloth, were adamant in their opposition to granting the humans too much power, while others, like Galfor, were more open to a compromise. The tensions within the council chamber began to escalate, with factions forming and alliances shifting as the delegates jockeyed for position. Evelyn watched the proceedings with a growing sense of unease, knowing that the fate of her people hung in the balance. Finally, after days of heated debate, a tentative agreement was reached. The humans would be granted limited representation and technology-sharing privileges, but with strict conditions and oversight from the council. Siloth, his scales gleaming with a sheen of triumph, turned to Evelyn, his eyes narrowed. "This is the best we can offer, human. Take it or leave it." Evelyn knew that the terms were far from ideal, but she also recognized that this was a critical first step in establishing the humans' place within the Galactic Council. With a deep breath, she nodded, her expression resolute. "We accept your offer, Honorable Council. Let us work together to build a future of mutual understanding and prosperity." As the delegates dispersed, Evelyn could not shake the feeling that the fragile alliance they had forged would be put to the test in the days and weeks to come. The struggle for power and influence within the Galactic Council had only just begun. The grand corridors of the Galactic Council's headquarters bustled with activity as the newly integrated human delegation took their place among the distinguished alien representatives. Evelyn, the human ambassador, walked with a measured stride, her expression a carefully crafted mask of diplomacy. Behind the scenes, however, tension simmered. The terms of the humans' inclusion in the council had been hard-fought, with the other delegates pushing for strict limitations on their technology sharing and voting rights. Xylov, the Vosgian representative, had been the most adamant opponent, his scaly features twisted in a perpetual scowl. Even now, as the human delegation took their seats, Evelyn could feel the Vosgian's gaze boring into the back of her head, a silent warning that the fragile alliance they had forged would be put to the test. As the council session commenced, Evelyn rose to address the gathered delegates, her voice calm and measured. "Honorable members of the Galactic Council, we are honored to take our place among you and look forward to contributing to the continued prosperity and security of the known universe." The other delegates nodded politely, their expressions ranging from cautious acceptance to barely concealed disdain. Galthur, the Xyrian representative, stood and cleared his throat, his deep baritone voice filling the chamber. "We welcome the human delegation and look forward to the unique perspectives and technological advancements they can bring to our discussions. However, we must also be mindful of the delicate balance that has maintained peace and order within the Galactic Council for centuries." Xylov shifted in his seat, his scaled fingers drumming against the ornate table. "Indeed," he interjected, his voice dripping with thinly veiled contempt. "We have agreed to grant the humans limited privileges, but let us not forget that they have yet to prove their loyalty and commitment to our cause." Evelyn felt her jaw tighten, but she kept her composure, meeting Xylov's challenging gaze with a steady expression. "The people of Earth have no desire to disrupt the galactic order, Xylov. We simply seek to work alongside you, as equals, to ensure the continued prosperity of all our civilizations." The delegates exchanged uneasy glances, the tension in the air palpable. Galthur raised a hand, his expression one of cautious diplomacy. "Let us proceed with our agenda, then, and see how the human delegation can contribute to our discussions." As the council session wore on, Evelyn and the human representatives found themselves navigating a minefield of skepticism and distrust. Every proposal, every suggestion, was met with scrutiny and pushback from the other delegates, particularly Xylov and his Vosgian allies. It became clear that the humans' integration into the Galactic Council would be a delicate and precarious balancing act, with the slightest misstep threatening to unravel the fragile alliance they had forged. Evelyn knew that the stakes were high. The future of humanity's place in the galactic order hung in the balance, and the Council's members were not going to make it easy for the humans to assert their influence. As the session drew to a close, Evelyn caught Xylov's gaze, a silent challenge passing between them. The Vosgian delegate's eyes narrowed, a silent warning that the battle for power and influence within the Galactic Council had only just begun. Evelyn steeled herself, knowing that the road ahead would be arduous, but she was determined to ensure that humanity's voice would be heard, even in the face of such formidable opposition. The integration of the human delegation into the Galactic Council's ranks had not been without its challenges. Evelyn, the human ambassador, found herself navigating a delicate political landscape where every proposal, every suggestion, was met with intense scrutiny and resistance from the other delegates. Xylov, the Vosgian representative, had emerged as the most vocal opponent, his scaly features contorted in a perpetual scowl. The Vosgian's distrust of the humans was palpable, and he seemed determined to limit their influence at every turn. As the council sessions wore on, the tensions between the human delegation and their alien counterparts began to escalate. Seemingly innocuous disagreements over policy decisions or resource allocation quickly escalated into heated debates, with both sides stubbornly defending their positions. "The humans are trying to undermine our authority," Xylov shouted, his scaled fist slamming against the ornate table. "Their technological superiority has made them arrogant, and they seek to reshape the galactic order to suit their own interests." Galthur, the Xyrian delegate, raised a placating hand, his deep baritone voice cutting through the din. "Let us not jump to conclusions, Xylov. The humans have upheld their end of the agreement, and their contributions to our discussions have been invaluable." Evelyn nodded, her expression calm and measured. "We have no desire to disrupt the delicate balance of power within the Galactic Council. We simply seek to work alongside you, as equals, to ensure the continued prosperity and security of the known universe." Siloth's scales seemed to shimmer with barely contained fury. "Equality. Prosperity. Bah! The humans have already proven their willingness to defy our authority. Who's to say they won't use their influence to seize control of the Council, undermining everything we've built?" The other delegates exchanged uneasy glances, the weight of Siloth's words hanging in the air. The Vosgians' fears, though perhaps exaggerated, were not entirely unfounded. The human delegation's technological prowess had already shaken the foundations of the Galactic Council, and the prospect of them wielding even greater influence was a daunting one. Evelyn took a deep breath, her eyes sweeping across the faces of the assembled delegates. "Honorable members of the Council, I understand your concerns, but I assure you, the people of Earth have no desire to seize control or disrupt the galactic order. We simply wish to be recognized as your equals, to contribute our knowledge and expertise to the betterment of all our civilizations." The chamber fell silent, the tension palpable. Galthor cleared his throat, his expression grave. "Be that as it may, we must consider the ramifications of your growing influence. The Galactic Council was built on the foundation of mutual trust and cooperation, and we cannot allow that to be undermined, regardless of the circumstances." Evelyn felt a chill run down her spine, the implication of Galthor's words clear. The fragile alliance they had forged was hanging by a thread, and any further missteps or misunderstandings could unravel it completely. As the delegates dispersed, Evelyn found herself at the center of a whirlwind of activity, her human delegation bombarded with inquiries, demands, and veiled threats from their alien counterparts. The integration process had become a minefield, with the potential for catastrophic consequences should a single wrong step be taken. Evelyn knew that the fate of humanity's future within the Galactic Council now hung in the balance. The delicate balance of power that had long defined the Council's dominance was being tested, and the outcome of this struggle would reverberate through the stars for generations to come. The Galactic Council chamber was a cauldron of tension, the air thick with the weight of impending conflict. Evelyn, the human ambassador, stood resolute amidst the storm, her eyes fixed on the faces of the alien delegates, each one a potential adversary. The integration of the human delegation had been fraught with challenges, as the delicate balance of power that had long defined the Council's dominance was tested to its limits. The Vosgian delegate, Siloth, had emerged as the most vociferous opponent, his scaly features twisted in a perpetual scowl of mistrust and disdain. "The humans have proven themselves to be a disruptive force," Siloth spat, his scaled fingers drumming against the ornate table. "Their technological superiority has made them arrogant, and they seek to reshape the galactic order to suit their own interests." Galthor, the Xerian representative, raised a placating hand, his deep baritone voice cutting through the din. "Let us not forget the valuable contributions the humans have made to our discussions, Siloth. Their insights and innovations have the potential to benefit all our civilizations." Evelyn stepped forward, her expression calm and measured. "Honorable members of the Galactic Council, we have no desire to disrupt the delicate balance that has maintained peace and prosperity throughout the known universe. We simply seek to work alongside you, as equals, to ensure a future of mutual understanding and cooperation." The delegates exchanged uneasy glances, their faces etched with a mixture of skepticism and trepidation. The prospect of the human delegation wielding greater influence within the Council was a daunting one, and the potential for conflict was palpable. Siloth's scaled features contorted into a sneer. "Cooperation. Equality. Bah! The humans have already shown themselves to be a threat to our way of life. Who's to say they won't use their influence to seize control of the Council, undermining everything we've built?" Galthor's brow furrowed, the weight of Siloth's words weighing heavily upon him. The Vosgian delegate raises a valid concern. The integration of the human delegation has been a delicate process, and any further disruptions could unravel the fragile alliance we have forged. Evelyn felt a surge of frustration, but she forced herself to remain calm. Honorable Council, I implore you to see beyond your fear and mistrust. The people of Earth have no desire to seize control or disrupt the galactic order. We simply wish to be recognized as your equals, to contribute our knowledge and expertise to the betterment of all our civilizations. The chamber fell silent, the tension in the air thick enough to be palpable. Galthor cleared his throat, his expression grave. Be that as it may, we cannot ignore the potential consequences of your growing influence. The Galactic Council was built on the foundation of mutual trust and cooperation, and we cannot allow that to be undermined, regardless of the circumstances. Evelyn felt her heart sink. The fragile alliance they had forged was hanging by a thread, and the prospect of a galactic-scale conflict loomed large. As the delegates dispersed, Evelyn found herself at the center of a whirlwind of activity, her human delegation bombarded with inquiries, demands, and veiled threats from their alien counterparts. The integration process had become a minefield, with the potential for catastrophic consequences should a single wrong step be taken. Evelyn knew that the fate of humanity's future within the Galactic Council now hung in the balance. The delicate balance of power that had long defined the Council's dominance was being tested, and the outcome of this struggle would reverberate through the stars for generations to come. But as Evelyn contemplated the uncertain future, a glimmer of hope began to take root. Perhaps, in the face of such a profound challenge, the Galactic Council and the human civilization could find a way to bridge their differences and forge a new path forward, one that would ensure the continued prosperity and security of the known universe. The road ahead would be arduous, but Evelyn was determined to see it through. For the sake of her people and the countless civilizations that depended on the Galactic Council's stability. The fate of the stars now rested in their hands, and the choices they made in the coming days would shape the course of history.